on this. Love. We are all going to die. Or knowing one another is very precious. At the moment of death, the only thing that really matters is the condition of your heart. Our lives are so short, and that's the amazing thing about the world. It doesn't last. Our bodies are wondrous because they're vulnerable. Our relationships are profound and difficult and joyous and tragic because we're vulnerable and our relationships don't last. So I think a lot of you know that I am in school to become a chiropractor, so I am constantly learning. Whether it's new biochemistry principles or hands-on adjustments, I'm always being pushed into something new. But I am also hard on myself, trying to be impressive, trying to be successful. And I've realized lately that those goals of looking good actually get in the way of learning. I started watching this show on Netflix called The Chef Show with Jon Favreau and Roy Choi. Jon is a famous film director and actor. Roy is an amazing chef. They met because Roy was teaching Jon how to cook for a role, and the two of them hit it off, and Jon has loved learning about cooking ever since. So in the show they do together, the two of them will visit other famous chefs, and Jon and Roy cook with them, trying out their specialties, learning their techniques. I had an episode of this on one night while I was making dinner, and Jon said to one of these master chefs, "Let me show you how I would do this at home. Then you tell me everything I'm doing wrong." And I was floored. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I don't think I'd have the guts to cook for someone that skilled. And I don't think I've ever asked for feedback that direct. There was another episode with a master sourdough baker who I really admire. And Jon was helping to make some loaves and said, "What do you think?" And the baker was like, "Yeah, it's good." And Jon wouldn't take it. He kept pushing. "Don't be nice to me, man. Nice doesn't make me better. You have to tell me what needs work." These little vignettes impressed me so much because it was such a clear moment of the humility and vulnerability that is needed for real learning. And they impressed me so much because it feels like that is something that is so lacking in our lives and culture today. So much of our public conversations are around sharing our opinions or expecting politicians to fit our ideas, instead of being open to new perspectives or showing up and asking for clarity on what we don't know. When are we humble enough to admit what we don't know, to ask for help? It's something I've been working on at school. I so desperately want to be good at this work, but I also want my TAs and professors to think that I'm successful, and I want them to affirm me. I can't imagine saying, "Nice doesn't make me better. Tell me everything I'm doing wrong." Is it just me, or does that feel really tough to do? Is it just me, or is that not modeled very often in our culture? When do we learn in public, admit we were wrong, change our minds, try something completely new, stay open to perspectives we hadn't considered? I also realized that if I never admit what I don't know, I don't get to learn more. If I'm not open to understanding new people and perspectives, I am never going to make new friends and connections. If I'm so certain of how things should go, I will miss out on what's actually happening. It takes a really tender not knowing, a place of beginner's mind, as the Buddhists say, to be able to learn and grow. And this is also very spiritual for me. I want to stay in the state of not knowing so that wonder and awe can overwhelm me. Imagine if every time I went to Lake Superior, I was just like, "Oh yeah, I know you. Same old, same old." I've even had the experience of showing people pictures of the lake, and I'm like, "Isn't she incredible?" And they're like, "Cool." And I'm like, That's it? No. 10% of the whole world's fresh water is in our backyard. How many shipwrecks tucked onto the floor, this massive body and being in all weather, sometimes flat as a mirror, other times you can surf. She's never the same twice, so look at her right now in this moment. If I thought I knew who the lake was, I would never see her. Which brings us to Valentine's Day, briefly. My Buddhist teacher, Michael Stone, always talked about the most romantic thing you could say to your partner. Imagine rolling over in bed, he would say. First thing in the morning, lying next to your partner, you look deeply into their eyes. Look closely, look lovingly. And then you can say with your whole heart as you take their face into your hands, who are you? When we're so attached to the images we have of our relationships and the images we have of other people, we stop giving them space to transform and surprise us. We stop seeing them in their fullness. But when we get curious, when we get open-hearted, we give ourselves the chance to be amazed by others. We hold that loving space for them to delight us. Michael Stone would also often say, attention creates the conditions for love. Attention creates the conditions for love. When we give our attention to others in a deep and sustained, open-hearted way, we create the conditions for love to flourish. We often come to depend on the images others have of us, rather than who we actually are or are actually becoming. And we often come to depend on the image we have of others, rather than who they are or are actually becoming. And the antidote, as far as I can tell, is curiosity. Not knowing, expecting to be wrong, asking for clarity, staying humble. Who are you? It's such a small shift, really, but hard to do. So maybe you're with me so far. Maybe you're like, yeah, Steph, I can be humble. I love to learn. I never feel like my ego gets in the way of my life. I love really direct feedback from people I love or people who are in power over me. I can't get enough corrections. I love it when people tell me I'm doing things totally wrong. My experiences are never limited by my expectations. I never miss out on the way things are because of the way I think things should be. I'm never narrow-minded about others or myself. Great, I'm with you. Fine. I don't believe you because thinking that you're done is proof that you aren't done and exactly what we're talking about, but fine. Say you're already perfect at this. Let's push this just a little bit further, or let me give you one more example where I can guarantee that this will show up for you. Racial justice. So here's a moment for that feedback you love. I've been really trying to get away from a linear model of thinking about racial justice, that it's just some ladder to climb from racist at the bottom to woke at the top, or some linear spectrum from awful to amazing. It's not like that. It's circles and constant recalibrating. We all have something to learn. We all have something to contribute, and no one is ever done. So that's humility number one here. You are never done. But number two, the work actually starts when you say the wrong thing. Doing the work of racial justice doesn't mean that you'll never put your foot in your mouth. Doesn't mean that you'll never hurt another person again. Hopefully, it happens less. Hopefully, you try harder not to, but it will happen. And so it's the moment right after you get called in that matters. Someone has had the guts not to be nice to you in that moment. To take the risk to say, actually, that's not great. If you're lucky. It might also sound like, hey, that's a really shitty thing to say, or please don't talk down to me just because I'm a woman, or that feels a lot like cultural appropriation. Remember, this is the best case scenario, getting called in. It's far more likely that you'll hurt someone, they'll be mad about it, be too exhausted to confront you, or be convinced that you aren't going to change your problematic behavior, so it's not worth mentioning your harm. Getting called in is the best possible outcome here, if you actually care about doing the work. So we start by being grateful. But our first impulse, I'm betting, when someone confronts us is the good white person mantra, good white person, and capitalized. Everyone repeat it with me. It's practically on our flag. I didn't mean to. Sometimes we throw in a little chorus of, you misunderstood me, or what I meant was, okay, I didn't mean to means it is more important to me that I look good than that I learn. I didn't mean to means there's only one way to interpret the situation, and I already know what it is, and you are wrong. So now you have not only hurt the other person in the first place, but you are causing harm by denying that you caused harm. This is an excellent way to make sure that people don't want to talk to you in the future, to make sure that people won't find you trustworthy. And it's so crushing to our egos, but the best things we can do in these moments is get back to that beginner's mind, back to the place of non-knowing. And like Jon Favreau, be so grateful that there is someone there who is not being nice to you so that you can be better. So we're going to have a new mantra. I want you to repeat this with me. You're all on mute, but just, say this a lot. Just get used to saying this. Thanks for letting me know. Thanks for letting me know. From there, you can stay open and expand a little bit. I see how you heard that. I see how you felt that. And you are right. That isn't fair. I appreciate you helping me see the ways that I caused harm. I'm going to say that again. Thanks for letting me know. I see how you heard that, and I see how you felt that, and you are right. That is not fair. I appreciate you helping me see the ways that I caused harm. For 1 million bonus points to be a really good white person, you can add, was there anything else that I did? And then give them your attention, not your excuses. You have the opportunity to listen. So show right in that moment what you do mean to do, which is grow and change. So show up, mean it this time. Think back to the last time someone hurt you and what it would have been like if they had been able to respond in that way when you finally got the courage to confront them about it. Wouldn't it be nice in those arguments you rehearse in your head if the other person said, thanks for letting me know. I can see how you experienced that, and you're right, it sucks. I appreciate you helping me grow. It's so easy to want that response when we are the ones that are hurt, but it's harder to admit that we all, and I mean we all, have our turn on the causing harm side of the equation. So my invitation on this day of love and relationship, this day, maybe, sure, a little marked up by Hallmark, but why not use it as an excuse to be better nurturers and nourishers of relationships in our lives and in the natural world? My invitation to you is to practice not knowing, to stay open and humble and curious, to sit with a quiet grin and greet the unknown with a welcoming, who are you? And to wait to be amazed by what you encounter. Amen.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will within.